them, and I thank you for reminding us that when we have the public support, as long as we have the public support, we will take up issues, particularly with public dialogue. If this is really successful, maybe the next we will take up another issue to discuss. But for other issues, there are certain issues that CTAN handles differently and NNQF handles differently. If they invite us to collaborate with them, we'll surely do that, and we will also, if there are issues where we will ask them to collaborate. So it will depend on that. Seeing this public dialogue, we will continue to take it forward for other issues as well.
Related to that, so after some days, we went to their office, requested them to come and sit with us. Because see, adherence cannot be another. What is black is black, what is white is white. So public law also time why is the position so difficult to be seen? We wanted them to highlight that to the public. They didn't turn out to run. Only, see, now, just recently, the NNQF, they have 5 RTR, we have 2 RTR for the same day. So, this is what the department is doing. When the RTI is asking questions or about the total sanctioned posts of assistant professors and librarians, in one of the RTI, the reply is 609. I'm saying, okay, RTI was filed on the same day, B. So it was 609 as it were, or it was 500 something as it were. Such overall, sanction post was it were. Now, after 2022, they asked for at the particular year post creation order than kita post creation human number post creation display 2024 last year 17 December akta posit isa so parolo. Ni problem ni jadi dulu guys. So maybe in the later part we'll discuss more. Thank you.
CTAN and NNQF is that when we talk to machine law, packet law, we found that they were not fighting anything for themselves, not for their personal gain. But one very inspiring message we got from them was that what has happened to us, this should not happen to the posterity, to the future generation. That is why today my organizations, we have come forward to support them. We are their staunch supporters. As a matter of fact, today, my ideas may be irrelevant to you because I did my research and a little bit of homework on different colleges, different government colleges, and I wanted to interact with the government officials, which are empty. Those chairs were for the government officials, and then my idea was to interact with them and to learn from them. This is not a government bashing program, as a matter of fact, but to have a healthy discussion, to have a happy discussion. Because, okay, revocation is done, recusation is not done. But even if the recusation is done, the dialogue, the conversation should go beyond that. Unfortunately, today our officials did not come, and I feel sorry for them. Why am I here today? And one question that people ask me, and also they say that, why are you supporting them? One very simple answer I get from one government official was that I don't want to see our children, I don't want to see my brothers and sisters on the street again. I want them to study, because during the protest, what we saw, some of you came out shouting slogans. At the end, when you get little bit of time, you just go inside, sit on the floor, and open your books, and you start your work again. So those things we really don't want to. But to the government officials, to the government, I just want to tell them that I don't want to see you on the street, but if they behave like this, when questions were asked, they say that, we will not stand for media trial. When they are invited for invitation, they never appear, they never come to us. And to the different organizations, what I want to say is that, because somebody just day before yesterday asked me, what is 147? And I said, my answer was that 147 is the small tablet, small medicine to heal Nagaland. So if we fail this time, then I don't see any future for Nagaland. I think this battle is very, very important. That is why you have our full support. And even in future, in whatever way we are ready to help you. We are always here to, give you our support. And the need is very much felt now in our society to check our system. System is horribly wrong. One driver molested a girl, arrested, suspended. Remy Wilfred, he was booked under POCSO Act. Booked, no? The verdict should have been out within 6 months to 1 year. And then he was awarded a better post in the finance department. Then FIR was registered. FIR was registered. No? But he called media and he gave interview at his office chamber again. Is this the system? Are we going to follow this kind of system? Is there a system for reach and work? So that is why we really need to discuss with the government officials and the other thing. Regarding to 147, I think today that is the main topic that we are going to discuss. We are going to focus on it, and then I will give time to my other colleagues also so that we will have more time for discussion.
It is true representations, memorandums, protests, we were able to bring about NSSP, reduction of the interview marks. Now, earlier, the NDC does not give the marks after the result, but now after pressuring them, now they give the marks of the individual one. Supposing if I pay exam, I can write to the NDC, I can see my marks, my individual marks, of course not the others. So all those are achieved through representations, education and all. Or we were able to terminate backdoor appointments in many of the departments. Still there are some pending. We have given some deadline to some departments, which we will be mentioning whenever required, but I won't say the name of the department today because tonight they will become restless. So, and when it comes to court case, of course, maybe there will be some cases where we need to go to court. But as far as the CTAN is concerned, we have never gone to court because we believe in democracy now. Or we will keep such a great probability through democratically policy corruption of the Hakao Parade. That's what we believe. And that is the way we deal with the corruption in Nagaland.
I took things in my hands
There were times when I put things in my hands. I was posted in Angami for 3 years. I filed a number of RTIs on my own bicycles. So it's no big deal. But I knew they could not touch me because my records are clean and my service is confirmed. They cannot just tell me they tried. So it's no big deal. But like what our CTAN and NNQF officials have said, if some people have problems, they can bring the problems to them. They will ensure that their names will not be taught. I think I got notice of that. I'm not very sure of your question.
So my question is, how can such youth-led movements like this rebuild the public's faith in the government and for fair governance?
Fair governance by not remaining silent.
So beyond requisition, how can movements like this actually rebuild that faith between the public and the government?
You see, our government is very corrupt. It's very filthy. Our system, maybe this is one of the most corrupt governments in India. So the question of having faith in the government doesn't arise. But the government can, but I don't know if the government will take this opportunity to build good relations, will help us build faith. I don't think it will happen. Till we protest, till we clean out the system. And you have already cleaned out a portion of the system. There was the 147, but the fight is still there. Otherwise, I don't see any hope. Maybe Mr. Paul can share something.
I think you said because our people's faith, trust in God is weak. Yeah, I hope I've understood your question. I think all of us are like that. Even, I think Jesus said, blessed are the poor in spirit. And I think our weak trust grows when we learn to obey in trust. Do this, do it in trust, because it is right. Don't do it because we see it is wrong. Now that's a very difficult thing to do. And even the smallest step you take because it is right. So, but when you obey, you grow. Now the way. You can become if you don't obey, you can become a very smart rationalist, but you are not growing. In the sense that you should, the total growth. And this thing about Jesus saying, blessed are the poor in spirit, for me, when I was really trying to sort things out in my life, I said, my God, what a wonderful thing he said. I never took notice of it. So very often I just knelt on my knees and said, God, I'm trying to do what is right. And such a hopeless fellow. But I am hungry for it. I'm hungry for the bread of life. Okay? We all know what it is. And thank you for saying that I'm blessed because I am poor in spirit. For theirs is the kingdom of heaven. The just society will have come out of that kind of obedience. I believe that obedience is the key to change everything. Otherwise, we will go through life learning to rationalize, explain away, and we are in due course dead in our soul and conscience. My wife once told me after we were married for about 8 or 9 years. She said, you've been trying to be good for so many years. Then you've become quite good. But I find so difficult living with your refined temper and your very clever ways of telling lies. I was shattered, and she was in tears. She said, I tried to point out where I, as your wife, feel unhappy. You are wrong. You're trying to exaggerate, or you're trying to give a spin for your own advantage or something. You're not doing very big bad things, because your message is to change the world. You be the change. But when I cannot point it out to you, because you are so aggressive in the way you answer me. And your argument is so well worked out by now. Your lives are so well developed. I don't know how to do it. I didn't know you were like this when I said yes to you. I just stood there, not knowing what to say. So after some time I said, I don't know what to say, but please don't be controlled by my bad temper anymore. Tell me whenever you see anything that is smelly, you feel unhappy in your soul. You don't like it. I will never like it because I'm such a man born for whom Christ died, okay? So I'll never be happy, but I'll keep quiet. And just say, I hate it, but thank you for correcting me. And I won't say anything more than that. But if in the next 3-4, I feel that somebody raised the matter of what about the individual. It comes down to what you as an individual, I as an individual, how far I will obey the sense that something has to be done and say that, oh, there's somebody else to do it. No matter who you are, if you say what should be done at my level, at my situation, I will fight like hell. The Russian writer, Nobel laureate Alexander Solzhenitsyn, in his acceptance speech of the and even dominate it, but not through me. The lie may come into the world and even dominate it, but not through me. And he said, sometimes you will find that there is just one step where you're standing, and everything else is gone, corrupted and everything like that.
NNQF is not just movement which is fighting against the 147 regularization, but people view this movement as a larger movement where we see a glimmer of hope in bringing changes in the society, in the government, in the civil organizations, and also in the church. With everything being said and done, my question is, moving forward, is this association between the CTAN and the NNQF going to confine to just this issue of the 147, whether it is sent for requisition, or it takes a lot of time, or it is not sent? But what about the future of this movement, which you have started? So this question I would like to put up to our two very esteemed leaders, Jeremy Shanlo and Dr. Bilikono. And I believe that this can be start of, it is already starting a very big chain reaction. And I truly feel that it should not be just confined to this 147. If we truly want to see change in our society, then like it has been saying, we need to be change we want to see in our society. But in order to do that, we also need someone to guide us. And I think CTAN and NNQF has been doing a fantastic job in doing that. So moving forward, I would like to know your plans for the use of our state. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Sir, see, what we do is we have taken up issues in many departments. I should say this is not the first time we have taken up issues. So after this issue also, There are some departments where we have filed RTI, or there are some departments where we have given them a deadline of 30 days, which did not come out in public. So, I have said this in some of the places also. If we are only very confined to this department, people may think that I am having some grudges, or our leaders are having some grudges against the department officials or against the ministers. This is what we have been doing since the beginning, and we will continue to do this. There are so many pending issues, like we have issues in social welfare, legal methodology. I am talking about the departments where we are taking up issues. Health and Family Welfare Department is here. And taking this platform, I would like to remind the Nagaland Hospital Authority also. Now see, the other day also, when regarding this 157, I'm badly being so much disturbed. We honestly say, Nagaland people are so lazy now. I just want to say, since they have my number, they think that I also very feel like them. Unnecessarily, they will give me. I love to take suggestions. Okay, out of people about me, I'm also an individual. I'm a human. I have only one brain. I'm stressed, so you don't expect me to act like a machine. I'm 24 hours a week. I do the why only this department? Why not taking this? Why I realize Instagram takes to play. Honestly, we are also doing our best to at least clean up into department later on to pick up so. That was the publicity. They think Nagaland Hospital and Hospital low pressure. I'm about to also, he is admitted in Nagaland Hospital. Okay. So why is he bringing his father to Walking Hospital? Because there is no CT scan down here. Yes, not. CT scan out of the excuse that the Nagaland Hospital authority is giving is Saman Chor Hoye Uche. Saman Chor Hoye CT scan 2-3 years kiya hua hai. Now what we are trying to say, the name itself Combined Technical Association of Nagaland. Actually, we are to be confined only with technical. We deal with any department which is not functioning properly. Or if necessary, Nagaland will interview to check room. And what I heard is, I see will come to private companies to give it. They have given it to some private individuals. I see government will cheap hole right? See, that is happening in our state. All of emotion to action, we are really in other cases coming, we will continue to take up on a journey as
individual/citizen, and how far have we come as an individual? Yeah, this is a little big question actually. Such movements, is it properly nurturing the idea of an individual/citizen? Is the movement properly nurturing the idea of the individual? And how far have we come as an individual? So I think, come as an individual. I cannot explain further because I'm reading the word. Right. Maybe we can think about it and we'll jump to the next question. Where is the place of truth and justice in Nagaland, which is Naga society? As concerned citizens, what can we do? Or our responsibility is to integrate and mitigate corruption in Nagaland. Third question is, how can we make our democratic institutions more accountable on the questions of accountability? So the first question, where is the place of truth and justice in Nagaland? Someone can take that and I'll read the next question. Yeah, please go ahead.
Such movements, no? Are they properly nurturing the idea of an individual citizen? Yes. Because it is teaching us the duties of an individual or a citizen. As an individual, as a citizen, it is your duty to stand up in a fight for justice. Nothing comes free in life. You have to fight for it or you will lose it. then how far have we come as an individual? No, see, here too, we have not progressed as individuals or as a society. So we just start.
Thank you. We are about to wind up. A few more questions, and there will be refreshments outside, so don't worry about sitting here for long, okay? Where's the sorry?
I'm sorry. They will be serving the refreshments.
Oh, right now. Okay, so sorry. So yeah, refreshment will be served right now as we have this conversation. Where is the place of truth and justice in Nagaland? Where is the place of truth and justice in Nagaland? Where is the place of truth and justice in Nagaland?
I think some very important question, bringing down to the individual, something about individual, where is justice and something like that. I feel this, the reason why Gandhi's revolution shook the world, and it continues very deeply, more and more deeply all across the world. Rejected violently, but also in other groups. I think because he was the one who said, be the change you want to see in the world. Which you know it. But go into it. Be the change you want to see in the world. Some of these questions touch that. And he said, a European journalist, during the very busy days of the freedom struggle, Gandhi was busy the whole day, and he was asked by a journalist who wanted to file his report back to his paper for that day. So he came to Gandhi and said, Gandhiji, what is your message? Gandhiji said, my life is my message. Then the journalist was stunned. He said, well, what is the message of my life? He's trying to think. And I feel that, see, it has to be brought down to each one of us. Otherwise, I'm afraid it dries out. I was personally inspired to start the change that I want to see in my life because of a number of friends' examples. There was a very talented, famous church organist. He was Fraser. He was in a church in Edinburgh, Scotland. And he played a huge organ in the church. And he said, when he faced this question, be the change you want to see in the world, for him, as he asked God, where does it start with me? It's a simple thought. Every time the collection was taken by the church during the offering, they would come to the priest there, and it was all put near on his organ. George Fraser said, very often he held himself to that, to his pocket. Nobody knew it. And he was playing beautiful organs and praising the Lord. Hallelujah. So for him, be the change started with telling the church, the whole church, the bishop, priest, and the church, sorry, I am a musician playing beautiful music, but this is what I've been doing, I'm sorry. And he returned the money to the church. I was very challenged by that. I think some people that like that is needed in the church, and in Christians like me and you. And then there was a friend with whom I worked. For him it meant, he said, he traveled Bombay buses regularly and train stations, and he didn't need to pay for the ticket because he could do it. And after all, he was not a rich man, and the society was exploitative, but unjust people and so on. For him, be the change meant working out a rough, generous calculation and say to the go to the bus, BDSC Bombay, the managing director, and the Bombay Railways, those a lot of chance. And just say that this is a very humble beginning, but this is what I've been doing. I'm against corruption in India and society became too bad. But I have been told by the inner voice, my creator, that I should do this. Now, a very small thing. But for him, that was be the change, the beginning.
You see, now, in fact, I was, especially when I heard our GP, Mr. Kaoto Chishi was in Kohima with all of you during your protest. I wish I were there. But I was bedridden. But then I thought, maybe I should also, maybe contribute to society by penning an article. So there in my article, probably to the second article, there I mentioned that the government should replace the minister by a highly qualified person. A qualified person should come as Minister for Higher Education. We're dealing with higher education. We cannot afford to have somebody without any qualifications come and guide the department. You look at some foreign countries like New Zealand, Australia, some places. The health minister is a doctor. The education minister is a retired or a professor. So, see, we have these kind of people who run their countries, that's why their countries are so successful. If we go by whims and fancies and by party pressure, Nagaland will collapse. But at least let's not allow higher education to collapse. All of you, we are, Mr. Kaoto has already assured you of his support. You have support of the KDP. And maybe I'll also join the fray. We can gather a lot of people who can support you. We will support you. But we need to see you stand up.
Next question. Why does this corruption occur? Article 32, Constitutional Remedies. Suo motu. I'm sure the question is like, why can't the court take this as a suo motu case, right? So, maybe, speak also.
See, in life, it's all a question of accountability. Okay? So, India has become so corrupt because it is not accountable. It is not Nagaland. See, in China, you may insult China as much as you want. You may talk bad about it. But then, when they catch government officials, corrupt government officials, they shoot them. But here in India, you see the corrupt are enjoying life. So the Nagas, I keep saying this, Nagas have learned the worst of the Indians, but nothing, of course they have very good aspects of Indians also, but none of them. Okay, traffic rules also we don't follow. Look at Mizoram. Look at Nagaland, especially Dimapur. Look at, as I said earlier, churches also only offices, everybody wants to build houses, are underground factions. I am the first and only person who has called them financial freedom fighters. Yes, this is my articles, no? I came across one Facebook, YouTube video of a beautiful place somewhere in one district, okay? You have all these lakes and islands sort of thing, and comments on it. The owner is the leader of some underground faction. Our church leaders also. One person was telling me about their pastor demanding a scorpion. I said, hey, you're still behind us. We have moved below us. No, this has become our way of life because there is no accountability. We have become hypocrites because nobody calls them out. In my last interview with Mr. Ruland, we talked about people having issue with the way I say things. Well, I call them out. I call them thieves to the face. When I was on Northeast Line, Mr. Wasfi Hussain was very upset because I said Rio is a liar. No, but unless we call these people out, they will be hypocrites. They will think that they're getting away with it. But when you call them out, shame is a very powerful human emotion. You have to shame them into doing good things if you cannot punish them. So Indian law is very relaxed, but at least we will shame them. Now, I keep trying to tell the theologians that accept money from any source. It's okay. Whether he's a drug peddler or a bootlegger, or prostitute, or a thief, accept his money. But don't give him importance in the church. Now, when you start giving importance to people who donate the most, not on their character, then you're supporting corruption. So things like this. No? Accountability, and where there's no accountability, we have to shame them. That's my thing. That's why corruption is so prevalent, not only in Nagaland, but across it.
Thank you. AI conducted interviews be a game changer. It might offer benefits like reduced bias, standard evaluation, and increased efficiency. Has anyone ever used AI? No. I think I regularly use AI, so maybe just share your thoughts. AI, when it's not handled by human, AI cannot do the work alone. So the subjectivity of this, subjective interpretation of the AI information will, at the end of the day, come from the human hands again. So that's the system we all are fighting for. So AI cannot do the things alone, right? And it's, I think our our officials who are part of the recruitment, it's not that they cannot carry out objective analysis of or evaluation. It's just that there is influence from somewhere or the other. So at the end of the day, they cannot be delivered. I think everyone is well qualified, I believe. It's just that there are forces that are not allowing people to be objective at this stage, at this point in time. But AI can help for sure, but to what extent without human interference? In politics, it's all about human beings. But AI cannot just come and conquer us and do the things. I mean, that would be very obvious, right? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely not AI, but we have been discussing about the interviews that are conducted, maybe they can be aired. It can be shown to the public how the interview goes, in making accountability and transparency. We use technology that way.
Thank you. There's one more question. Big khatam, window big khatam, ceiling para ahi boleh big khatam. How can 5 candidates enter the service in 2025 without even screening as contract teachers getting regularized freely? Does anyone have any answer to that? 5 candidates getting regularized.
Mani, the 5 people were in the list.
No, there is no. It says 5 people getting recruited and getting regularized. Getting recruited as contract workers.
That is the level of corruption in our state now. The way one is not going to happen, hey, lawmakers, minister, and he played with you, we'll find out what is now. Hey, level has more corruption of the rules to tell me, but they make the rule, they don't follow the rule. Kita bisa individual lah, kita policy surat mana individual lah, pasti kiri saya sedang. Really, but we have to give an end to this. We have to know how to raise our voice. Where is it?
One thing that there are 5 candidates whose names have not been written. Yeah, that's a news that we've also heard. So we filed the RTI in recently, but even in the RTI, those names have not come up. So it's a very suspicious matter. Yeah, I will press forward on that.
Thank you. And second question is, after so many years of attaining statehood, why there is rampant corruption in Nagaland? Those sitting ministers and MLAs are well educated about unemployment scenario and are well-spoken people in public. Are they hypocrites? Are they deliberately doing it?
Let us accept the fact that we are also a very, very young society who doesn't know how to handle the situation. That is why, to start something new, we wanted to have a dialogue with the government officials, those policymakers. Because this system, for this, you see, we cannot point at one person. We have reached a point where we cannot say that I am not guilty just because I am not there in the government office. We are also all guilty. Today, if they come and have a good discussion, then maybe we would have learned a lot from them. Yes, no doubt, so much of corruption, and that this has been normalized, not since yesterday or today, since many, many years ago. No? So, we will start putting things right by righting the wrong. Along into issue here, in this issue, where we went, I think we will go to the bottom of it. At least one case. There now many times we have fought many beautiful battles, and after achieving certain things, we go and then we start to whisper in a closed door with the bureaucrats, and with the matter ends. But this should not happen. We will go till the end, to the bottom. Then only I think we can really bring a change.
Thank you. And the next question is, the education minister is not qualified enough to be the education minister, and with all hopes lost from the NPSC to bring any justice, can Nagaland University, the only central university, intervene in any way? I think Professor Tito would be the right person to answer this.
So now the university has a mandate. Every central university all universities are supposed to autonomous, but central universities have full autonomy except those, Delhi and those places, they have their problems with the government. So we recruit, I'm a retired man. The Nagaland University recruits its own faculties and goals. It's not even, the UPSC does not conduct any interviews except for the union territories. But I don't think the university has a mandate to conduct interviews for or intervene in this matter. But see, because I was here in the Nagaland University for the last 28 years, the NPSC never invited me for any work. And then many of my friends also say, what's the NPSC doing? They don't want our services. But it's up to them, because they have an agenda. So, I don't know. I don't think the university can intervene in any way. Because that's totally autonomous. This is Nagaland government. But we can discuss this to see if anything is happening. Because one good thing is that for this NIMSA, medical college in Kohima, because that medical college is affiliated to the Nagaland University, I was deputed as a member of the interview board. So there we ensured that everything is very clean, only the best got it. But if the government puts it into policy for the Public Service Commission, that there should be a nominee from the Nagaland University, that is one way. So one good member from the Nagaland University can clean up, will not permit open corruption. Of course, and then NNQF and the CTAN came up openly and started in a big way. NSF also was found behind the scenes doing the same thing. So just wondering, maybe there's some case of dynamics, internal dynamics, this couldn't work out. But it would have been such a more powerful body if you all were together. It's just a thought. And if, I don't know, maybe there's some internal dynamics. But if there's nothing like that, I think, I mean, it's not good, not a bad idea to have a mediator working between so that pressure comes together from, you know, I'm leaving it with you because you know what's happening inside. I don't know.
I asked Robert, but what about you? He said, I know, just in a humorous way. So that is why our civil societies have remained silent. Because they owe their positions to these people in power who you are fighting against. And regarding why did the church remain silent? The church is always silent. My nephew, he's a principal of one of our leading theological colleges. And in his presence, we were discussing something, and I said, don't mistake the church for God. Okay, we tend to think that talking ill of the church or the theologians will somehow bring the wrath of God upon us. Like this, the last time Mr. Lubin and I, we had an interaction on this show. Somebody told me that somebody is writing something. He had it more than 1 month back. But anyway, somebody is still writing something. And somebody had written that I will be cursed or something like that because I speak out against theologians. So, we have to understand, we have to pressure our churches. They are the moral compass. That is the duty of the church. It is not to preach on Sundays. I tell my believers, hey, God is not going to take attendance. He's not going to count how many Sundays you attend church. He's not going to see how long you pray, how beautifully you sing. He's going to judge you by your deeds. So, it's high time we understood that all these are part of each other. They have the symbiotic relationship of corruption. And that is why we have 20, okay, now 4 of them have merged. So we have around 22 freedom fighting groups. Can you imagine? And all of them are connected. During the ULP elections in Dimapur, when I was interviewed, I told them, okay, you vote for whoever you want, but don't vote for anyone connected with the undergrounds. I think more than half of them are connected with the undergrounds. Don't vote for anyone who's connected with corrupt officials. The remaining half are connected with corrupt officials. So, this is what we have to understand. We should not hold any expectation, false expectation on others. It is down to you. You decide. And my suggestion was the legal route. But if you have to go to the protest, I will stand by you. And you have to understand, each and every one of you must stand and be confident. Nobody else is going to help you of your own volition. You have to force it. So, God willing, if you protest loudly and well enough, you will force the government or the churches or the civil societies to act.
Thank you. I'm sure everyone had court will present this verdict. So I think it's quite risky. No? Once the matter goes to the court, then for us it's no use of sitting and discussing. So we will not have any more thing to discuss about.
Actually, see, yes. It was a very big success. I said it's only 50%. You managed to get the government to revoke a very bad case. And if the government doesn't requisition these posts to the LPSC, I think the CTAN and NNQF should protest again. And maybe this time you might get more support to this. Because maybe I'm seeing a number of people growing. Everybody is fed up with the ethics of the government. So think of a process. It's a democratic form, it's a democratic right. It's nothing against democracy.
Thank you. Those are very important points of views and practical suggestions as well. I think when we share ideas and interact with one another, normally we think that court case would be the best solution, where you can fight in the court. But there are other opposing views that when you take up such issues in the court, definitely the movement can die down and it can die a natural death. So there's high chance for that as well, right? So I mean that will be decided by the NNQF and CTAN leadership, but the reason for this conversation is to see what can be done best. And I'm sure we're getting hints on what will be the most practical steps at this moment. Do you also imagine or visualize any other solution in case requisition does not happen? Because you have no trust with government machinery at this point of time at all. So imagining that the requisition does not happen at all, despite the silent and peaceful protest that you have been holding. And they will not listen. So can it go on like this forever without any time limit? That's to complete my point. That will be same as fighting the case in the court, because we're scared that if you start fighting the case in the court, the time will be gone, and students who need to be taught will always lose their time. But if the protesters keep on going like this without listening to one another, will it be the same? That's the thing. Let's give a call that.
Yeah, by any means, since the movement has started, so by any means, the requisition has to be done. That is one thing. But even if requisition is done, doesn't mean that the battle ends there. The war will still continue. So the government also should know that yes, they saw the sentiments, the emotions of the people, of the children. That time we saw leaders telling them, "Oh, you please go home." No, we will not go. We will not go. The anger did not still come out. But the government should not provoke the anger of the youngsters.
The teaching quality. That's a very big concern for me as one who aspires to become academics as well in that sense.
I'm very heartened that our NNQF and CTAN are fighting. But I have no faith in our elected leaders and this is a fact. These people are so dirty, so petty. They have not done these things out of ignorance or out of a mistake. They have done it deliberately. And you have won a very big victory by forcing them to cancel the thing, regularization. But they are never going to requisition into the NPSC. Now, because I believe that there are rumors floating around that every one of these 147 paid a certain amount of money. No. So whoever took the money has to give these people time to recover their money. So the only, in spite of my disappointments with the judiciary, the only option is to get the courts to intervene and force them to requisition these posts. Since they can regularize them, why can't they requisition the posts? They cannot say that these are sanctioned posts, non-sanctioned posts, nothing like that. So that is my take. No. And regarding NPSC, see, interviews are very subjective. No. My brother, when he appeared, the interview in 1982, even their tribalism was very prevalent. into an argument with one of the members of the NPSC, and the chairman, who was a Sikh gentleman, he intervened and told that member, that we are not here to question his knowledge of the subject. That has already been done in the written thing. This is over here, no? We're just here to test his personality. So things like that, no? I don't think any of you, people didn't bother to read my manifesto when I contested the elections. But in my manifesto, I wrote clearly that in every competitive exam, the candidate will have the right to compare his written answer script with those of others, and every interview will be video recorded. See, one of my young lady friends, she appeared in a social welfare team for, not for regular job, but for contracting. They just asked her name and sent her all the way. And in fact, she was told in advance, no point trying for it. It's already been abolished. So things like that, you have to understand. But as I said earlier, I believe our only recourse is legal thing. So, well, if any of you know anybody in the legal fraternity who's willing to pick up this case, I've also tried contacting some people. I'm in the process to talk later on. And that is the only way. Because these people I don't trust. Violent in many ways, but among the common people, we don't have practice. Okay, we accept intertribe marriage, all that. It is only when we reach the upper levels that tribalism manifests itself. Why? Because our leaders, you have to understand this, okay? Our leaders, they use tribalism to deprive us of our rights. Among them, they have got a very good system. Give and take.
Everything changed. So when we say that we saw a letter, one clear position of the issue, which is our Diplicium asks the ex-official director, she didn't, but I have also wave. She agreed. So it has to go with this. But I remember, we don't know what you do. Of course, one general fight like you, tell to us among original, but still we will not keep quiet, but the decision has to go with this.
The very idea of filing a court case is the backdoor amendment and the progress.
What you are doing is the building of institutions to serve our society, but you are the people. The institutions are very important, but the quality of the people who build and decide whether the institution without which nothing is lasting will work. And in that, some may be scientists, some may be doctors, some may be geologists, all kinds. Engineers, everything else that all of us do. In that, each will have to understand that each one is equally responsible. Some may be more glamorous, some may be more talked about, but the role of a guy like me, I can't do anything glamorous like science, engineering, law, nothing like that. But I can listen to the inner guidance. I realized I could only do that. So I decided I was never going to give it up and keep improving it. I think discover each one of you, what is your role? Because you have a very good role to bring into our history something we've never had. Building of institutions to make our society, enable our society to go into the future. Going to the extremely difficult. I don't need to say that, you know more than I. But I think this is where all that we are discussing will enable us to understand the role each one has to play. Otherwise, we'll see worse things happening. We'll have more bad people coming up doing worse jobs. But I just want to add that. I think that perspective has been kept up, and really, if you were to come up and look at you, something very big historic is happening, but we don't know how to go forward. Therefore, don't give it up. Keep developing it. Nagas have never had such an interest from the younger generation.
I want to share something about NPAC. Nagaland Public Service Commission is so outdated, okay? See, we got started very long back, so till today, NPAC does not have subject experts. And in the beginning, I thought that NPAC has the sole power. But after so many years of fighting for corruption, what I learned was NPAC is just a robot. When the elected members press button, yes, will be yes, no, will no. They are just implementing bodies. And they themselves also, they don't want to get updated. Our Nagaland is as such that I'm sure most of you knows, really, all the exams that are conducted under NPAC, we don't have subject experts to set questions for Common Educational Service, Combined Technical Service, NCAs, all those exams, whichever is conducted, questions are set by outsiders. You know that? Pusat diwo, company ko bagi questions set muna diwo ibigay muna to. And so from our side, we have requested them to. I think now it's high time that NPAC should be updated. It's high time you should have subject experts in every field because we have enough qualified people. Only one subject behind the last year NPAC website hang kuch jana na. We have form fill up kore tamile hang ho jana NPAC hang hoina na. That is the problem that I end up pointing my fingers at the policymakers. They are the one. See, policymakers, they are updating only their buildings and their size of plot of land. Update was I like to some classes. Honestly, when it comes to this marking system, their marking system, has interview remarks, manipulation, association like us, we fight against the government and we brought down the interview mark also. Earlier it was 75, it is 55 in NCS. I'm sure all of you know. Because we didn't trust the interview mark, but we know. That's why we brought it down. Yet marking system was a common education service exam marking system to take time that we feel because university have high marks mark to confuse the example like my engineering project, example like my college, it's very difficult to score mark. Now really for common technical exam they writing interview really common education to marking system as well. And now how can this change? Only if the department service rule is changed. And who is going to bring the change? The elected members. And that is the reason I always blame, put my fingers against them. Because they have to update their mind also.
Nagaland High Court giant size cases more than 90% of the cases are of the service rules. Nagaland High Court cases, more than 90%.
Maybe that's a sign of unemployment. All right, I think we're getting the sense that we have that, we felt the hopelessness that it's a systemic issue, right? So regardless of whatever you do, something or the other will not work. So I think we have to talk about how to make it more objective in the form of competition or the recruitment process. And you have mentioned, has mentioned that they have been fighting to reduce the interview mark, and they managed to do that a little bit. Still, interview is still very subjective. It's open to interpretation, or it's open to it can lead to manipulation. It's not only based on someone's judgment. I think for that matter, that I think for me, to my mind, that's well accepted. Now the point also comes to, it's also a big concern for the fact that what if we make it very objective in a sense, in the process of recruitment, that we end up like recruiting UPSC and NPSC aspirants, civil service aspirants. That all. Meantime, I support the idea that yes, we need objectivity in the process of recruitment. But what if we end up like UPSC recruitment style, which becomes more and more objective, and there's no way it can be disputed in many cases, right? It's very, very objective. There's no much room for misinterpretation or manipulation as such. But what for an academic position, if it comes down to such objectivity, and what if we reduce the quality of teaching? I think that's a concern that I want to raise. I would like to understand and hear from you how you will interpret that. Yes, for now we understand that we have a system problem. The system has to change and it will take time. But I think at least what you are demanding at this time is a requisition that we all need to give. Keep that in mind, I believe. And for such an important position, how do we look at it? Do you think such exam formats still are valid, or how do you look at it? Like in terms of teaching experience, would be very, very crucial. Like Dr. Vidya mentioned about 10% for the interviews. I think those subjective matters would be very, very helpful to recruit the best persons, to transfer knowledge and to help students learn more about the subject rather than being able to write. There are many criteria, of course, but one criterion I believe can be teaching experience, vast teaching experience, and in-depth knowledge about the subject, like how much research papers they have published in peer-reviewed journals, in those reviewed journals. So I think the system that we have right now, and the kind of ideal system that we want to achieve. Because I want to mention that even West Bengal they have a selection committee, not done through West Bengal Public Service Commission. They have a separate commission to recruit teachers and assistant professors. And in the context of Nagaland, what would be the objective way to look at when we recruit teachers? Let's now keep aside for a while that there should be fair recruitment. Fairness, we always encourage that, we always support that. But more than that, how do we objectively look at academics to make sure everyone gets benefited from the teacher, not just by passing written exam and secure exam? And that's something I just want to provoke you on that. Anyone, there's no like assigned term, but anyone can just take time and we can have the discussion around that as well.
Let's tell me something, Dr. Vidya. Do you have this NPSC people aspirants also have to write do you have to go through a written test? So let me tell you about myself. 1984, most of the professionals except a few senior citizens, none of them were born. When I sat with the NPSC, there was no written test. It was straight to the interviews. Now let me tell you something about the Central Universities of India. They don't conduct written tests. Now, the minimum qualification is NET, National Eligibility Test. This is a very tough examination. And a lot of people have gone through it. This is a tough written examination. So you don't need to test their written skills again. This is my personal opinion. And we have been recruiting in the Nagaland University for the last 28, 29 years since I was there. We don't conduct written tests. It's just straight to the interviews. The NPSC can come to terms with this. Because it's from the written tests, I always believe that some manipulation can happen. It's just my personal belief. Okay? But things can happen inside.
Regarding what Dr. Thomas said, NET was the basic qualifying test. Because as Robert said earlier, the different universities have different forms of marks. So some universities get very good marks, some get very bad marks. So there must be a common test which judges your knowledge. And it was just brought to my attention yesterday by one of my young friends who sent me a text saying that the new education policy has eliminated the affinity. No, I don't think it's mandatory. Yeah, check. So, 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Right, so this is my grounds with the government about, with our elected leaders. Any policy that the center initiates, we accept it blindly, because we know that they're corrupt. If we kick back a little also, they will come after us. Say oil palm. KTP, no? They were against the oil palm cultivation, but they accepted wholesale. Then earlier, when this highway was being built in the Pagla Pahar, they call it, no? China had also, our friend Mr. Robert Solo, he objected to the use of dynamite. But our government just allowed them, and look what's happening. Just recently, one truck driver has died again. I think how many deaths have taken place there? So things like this, no? And education is supposed to be in this concurrent list. So where the state has a voice also. So it is very frustrating when our leaders do not fight for the benefit of a society. So I want you to understand that all these affect our future. And all these are means of promoting the self-interest. Say, universities in Bihar, UP, you can get 10% marks also. You come with that, and you come with from a top university, and automatically you're disqualified. I mean, not disqualified, but automatically you lose the chance of access to employment. So things like this, I don't know how we will solve it, but say MPSC, if we have a common test, but then we don't have to go through written tests in this. No, just in the
Nation without recognition is incomplete. Even if recognition takes place, there are certain concerns regarding the CSE which makes the exam certain concerns that makes it questionable with regard to transparency and fair recruitment. And so based on that argument, I want to point out three things here. The first thing is with regard to the mark weightage. When it comes to the CSE, the Common Educational Services exam, they have allotted out of the 100 marks, we have 100%. They have allotted 40% to the academic board of the aspirant, and 45% to the written examination, 50% for the interview. Now here the concern is particularly with the 40% that is allotted to the academic report. Now you will see that there is variation on the aspirants. Some aspirants will fall under the annual system, some under the semester system. Now there's a stark difference in terms of their scoring because of that difference in system. Then there are also variations across universities. Some universities are very strict in their markings, whereas some universities are playing with markings. So based on this 40%, some sections of aspirants are already at a disadvantage, even before they write the exam. Then only 45% awarded to the written exam, then we have 15%. Now there are, of course, we understand that there has to be a section that is awarded for interview. However, we also find that there are disparities against there. When you look at different aspirants, some of them will have better articulation skills, a wider range of vocabulary, mannerisms, and presentations, that will differ. Now, we're not saying that that is wrong, but there's already an existing disparity in the society. And therefore, in order to narrow down those disparities, I think the interview percentage also has to come down to at least 10% as other examinations. So these are some of the concerns that we have addressed and appealed to the concerned authorities also. And we come to this recommendation that if we are looking for fair recruitment, the authorities should bring down the academic report from 40% to 20%, and as mentioned earlier by Professor Tong, they should give more emphasis on research obligation, research experiences, even teaching experience. Then the interview should be limited to 10%, as in other exams, and the written examination should be increased to 70%. That's our suggestion. These are some of the demands that we have put in our competition. As you go out, you decide if you agree on this point. Now, the second point that I want to emphasize is with regard to transparency, which has already been mentioned. Now, when the CSE results are out, you only get to know your marks. You can file an RTI, but you only get to know your marks. You don't know the marks of the person who has cracked the exam. You don't know the marks of the person who is the waiting list. Now, we're not questioning their competency, but if we are going to push for transparency in fair process of recruitment, then the disclosure of marks on the candidates should be a priority of the authorities. That is another thing they want to push for. And the third concern regarding the CSE exam is regarding the allied subject engineering. Now, UGC Gazette 2018 clause 4.141 allows allied subjects to apply for a specific subject. So say, for example, there's a vacant position for sociology. Candidates who have master's degree in social work, social development, social anthropology can apply for that post. Or if there's a post for political science, IR, people with IR. Make sure that this disparity does not get reproduced in the education system or in the recruitment system. We're sharing this discussion.
It's something we are seeing today. Now, we have some expectations from the government. That is, if the 147 posts are given, I'm still skeptical. Even if the 147 posts come, I still think we may be short of posts, short of patients. There are 17 global colleges. We expect all the major colleges, there's Dimapur Government College, Fazlani College, Singapore Government College, and Kohima Science College, Kohima College, and all to be upgraded. We expect them to start the additional year, the 7th and 8th semesters. Probably Kohima Science College is not sure. But for that, we need extra teachers, we need extra infrastructure. Now there's a problem. Contracts has basically, there was too much of manipulation, extensive manipulation, so the government itself abolished contract appointments. But for higher education, we have to see it rationally. With the shortage of posts, creation of posts take time. Sending a requisition to the NPSC takes time. But in the meantime, departments of various colleges should not suffer. So we can think of appointing guest faculties for 6 months or for the government to build up the necessary infrastructure for at least major colleges. And I don't believe that Nagaland is a failed state. I hope that Nagaland will never be a failed state. So if that's the case, then I think Nagaland should have at least one multidisciplinary state university. Nagaland government should not shy away. We need it if we are to grow intellectually. They say about 30 or 40 crore rupees is going out of Nagaland annually because many of our students go out for studies. We don't have space for them here. And also we have, as an afterthought, I also put this, we have expectations from the NPSC also. Transparency. I feel there should be transparency and we should ensure there is transparency. Of course, maybe it's definitely the case, maybe the NPSC recruits following, taking the minimum qualifications. The UGC has specified net as a minimum qualification. PhD is not mandatory. But if there are cases where there are PhD candidates with PhDs, preference of weightage should be given. Because ultimately we need to develop our university, our colleges into research institutions. So with this short address, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much
for your time. Since the time is running out, I will read out the names of the organizations and individuals we have worked out or we have met our events as a successful one. We would like to thank Angami Women Organization for the generous use of the halls and the facilities and the content available at our convenience. We also would like to acknowledge Victory Church of all nations for giving us this space. And we also would like to thank the technicians, the sound system operators, and the church staff for your dedication towards our programs. We also would like to acknowledge Mr. Poco and team for internet connection. We also would like to thank all Nagaland Taxi Association for fundings, posters, for your generosity. We acknowledge your generosity on behalf of CTAN and NNQF. We also would like to acknowledge the organizations, Gezit, TV, Jehovah, and the Surgeon Together for your insightful thoughts and for your sacrifices, for your dedications, and for your advice. Without which our program may not be as successful, but because of your guidance and because of your support, our events has become a successful one. Therefore, thank you once again. I also would like to special thanks goes to Suri Longland Show for your coverage and for your time, for your energy, and also for your creative ideas and all these connections and all these materials free of cost. That's why on behalf of the CTAN and NNQF, we could not able to give you anything, but our prayers are with you.